Hey, and welcome to another installment of Catching Up with Chris, Jake, and Sam. I'm Sam.
I'm Chris.
I'm Jake.
And, yeah, Happy New Year, guys, because this comes out on New Year's Eve.
That's right.
Yeah, so you guys are going to have a great time.
Yeah.
Did you guys have a good Christmas?
I did. Very good.
I had a good one.
Yeah. Now,
fantastic.
I got a new hair trimmer from my brother-in-law and shaved my head again, and it felt really nice.
I don't remember what my voice from the... Chris is doing a callback to the first episode, because this is our 25th episode, guys.
Yeah.
We've been doing this for a while, so you get the NPR Chris
NPR
voice.
Chris,
Yeah. NPR Chris.
Yeah, easy listening Chris.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now Songs of the Rainforest.
Yeah, it was a decent Christmas. I got to introduce my family to Netflix, and they acted like it was like alien fucking technology. They're like, "Oh wait, let me get this straight. You can stop something and watch something else, but it'll remember where you were with that last thing." And it was like, "Yeah, that's how it works."
Welcome to a technology that came out. Netflix started about 10 years ago.
And streaming started about 5 to 7 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, somewhere around there. I remember it being Anyway, so yeah, they were just like flabbergasted. Like, wait, we can stop White Christmas and then have our
Black Christmas.
or have our dinner. And it's like, well, technically you could do that with a DVD or even a VHS, really.
Much easier on VHS.
Yeah, provided you didn't, rewind it. So yeah,
Put it in the separate rewinder that you have.
yeah. So it's which my dad does have.
We had one.
Yeah. So
Blockbuster style.
Yeah.
That thing was a beast.
We had like 5 at Blockbuster.
Yeah, that was some beast rewinding.
They still have VHSs while you were working there? I thought they
I
phased
started
them out
I
while
started
was
working there when they had a DVD section, which pretty much was The Matrix,
Mhm.
but they were phased. I mean, the VHSs were still there, and it was, I think, fairly early on they really started phasing it out. And I went to college, I came back, and it was just straight TVs.
Yeah, because when I started working there, the favorite section, the center of the store,
Mhm.
on the right side was all DVDs, and on the left side was all VHSs.
Yeah.
And then while I was working there, they integrated them.
Yeah.
So that it was just, you have the action section, you have the comedy section,
Exactly.
not DVD action, VHS
Yeah.
action.
And this is the for anybody out there and local to this area of the Fairfax, Centerville, Northern Virginia area, is the Colonnade Blockbuster back in the day, and then
Yeah.
it's where the Panera Bread is now, and it got moved to what was Played Against Sports and is now like a pet place.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, some people may not even know what the fuck a Blockbuster is.
So Blockbuster, before streaming movies became a thing, was this place where you could go and rent a VHS.
it was a magical place.
Or it
It
was a simpler time.
It was.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you guys get what you wanted for Christmas. Was Santa nice to you?
Santa was nice because I the only thing I ever remember asking my parents for in the history of my life was 2 things: an electric guitar, and GoldenEye on N64. And
Not a He-Man sword?
no.
That's one of the big bummers that always happened to me.
Never
Or
got a
not
He-Man
always,
sword?
but like, yeah, I never got a He-Man sword.
Mm.
Even though that year that it came out, that was like all I wanted.
No, didn't have the power. But yeah, so I it's always interesting because I enjoy, and kind of like I was saying with Thanksgiving, I just enjoy, as sappy as it sounds, the family stuff is fun just to get together and have a day where you're not worrying about work or any kind of schedules. You just sit around, have a couple presents, have a really good meal and just hang out. And I mean, the big thing was I got like a Nook,
Ooh.
so that was really cool. And I, immediately revamped or brought up my old Marvel and DC digital stuff because I had a shit ton of Moon Knight that was stored digitally, and it was nice to get that stuff going again and reread some of it. And then they had some sales, so I got
DC always does an end of the year sale where they list their essentials. For
yeah, it was like $5.
each.
So I got I had already read Kingdom Come, but I felt I actually like reading digitally. I love having a physical copy in my hand, and I still love having it on the shelf. For me, it's not one or the other.
Yeah, like I've got Long Halloween in both as well.
Yeah, and it never will be one or the other for me. And so I got Kingdom Come, Hush, which I had actually never read all of it before, and then Final Crisis. And I like reading. It's very dynamic. Where there's no spoiler of like your eye catches something on the other page. You just swiping it with your finger, and it's kind of cool, very cinematic.
One thing that I love about digital comics, if I may jump in, is like a lot of times like the official releases and certain ones that are made specifically for digital comics, like they'll actually like really like format them to be read like almost like cinematically, like where they have like almost like panel by panel advancement, not just full page, which is different from like if you're just reading something that was scanned in and presented digitally, which happens with like archived books. But I got when Guardians of the Galaxy was first announced and Marvel Now was a new thing, not new Marvel Now, but just original Marvel Now. They rebooted Guardians of the Galaxy, and they had like 5 issue zeros essentially that were like, this one focuses on Rocket Raccoon, this one focuses on Star-Lord, and those were like just digital, like only through Comixology or whatever. And those things, they were so cool. Like you would have a panel, and like you would have like Rocket Raccoon being like striking a pose, and then you'd click it, and it would be the same panel, but like his arm would flip out, and his gun, and then you click it again, and bang appears, and it was like, oh my god, this is like
Infinite Comics.
Yeah, this
Marvel Infinite.
That's what. It was a beautiful marriage between like storyboarding and comics, and I was like, this is great.
Very cool.
Yeah. Plug that.
And then something that was really cool. My dad and I share a love for the Detroit Red Wings, so he got me the book Mr. Hockey about Gordie Howe, and it was signed by him, which is really cool. I mean, unfortunately, his health has been pretty poor. Only hockey player to ever play in 5 decades. Like he played for 50 years.
Wow. They build those hockey guys tough.
He's one of the all-timers, and right on the front of it, Wayne Gretzky's like, he is the greatest hockey player of all time. And I'm a huge Red Wings fan, but Gordie Howe, I mean, it's funny, in the back it's like, he is known as Mr. Hockey. He lives blah, 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 blah. And his wife known as Mrs. Hockey, which is like kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, Gordie Howe is a legend, and that was really cool. I didn't realize it was a signed copy, and I opened it up, and there was a signature inside. That's really cool. I mean, he's, for me, like a Mickey Mantle of hockey. I mean, he's up there as one of my sports heroes. So I'm really looking forward to reading that book. So yeah, it was great. It was a great Christmas. And do you guys ever get like super bummed when Christmas is over? Like as soon as like it's kind of winding down, there's like this period that's like kind of like,
for me it's like, was that it? It's that kind of feeling.
Oh really?
Like not in terms of like not in terms of like presents or anything, but like I think we like hype up Christmas so much, and like
I can see a sense of that.
Yeah.
I think it's a mix of that and kind of like, oh, that's too bad. I wish it was because
it's
one
coming
thing
down from a high.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I've realized is Christmas will never be like I remember. It'll never be again like it was when I was a kid, and I think there's a little bit of that's kind of bittersweet. And for me, it was never like there was never a presents thing. Of course, you love getting presents as a kid.
I'm not going to say no to presents.
Oh no,
yeah.
But I remember coming downstairs and it'd be like huge, and like my sister was younger. She was 9 years younger than me, so like they'd go really presents heavy for her, and it was always this big thing when like you're a younger kid. And now it's a little more kind of just,
I kind of miss having like presents to open, because what we do now is more like gift cards and just straight up money.
Oh really? Okay, yeah. We still try to do some presents, and
yeah, I didn't really, honestly, I unwrapped like less than like maybe like 3 or 4 things.
Oh really?
If that, yeah.
My favorite part of Christmas is always just like the exchanging of gifts. Like one thing that I love is being able to find what I think is like the perfect gift for someone else, and then I really enjoy finding out what people think is a perfect gift for me. It's a beautiful insight into like the psychology of both of you. Finding out how close I was to getting a good gift. Like for Christmas, I was going to get Sam this book called The Pocket Book of Boners, which
shouldn't come from a surprise if you know me.
Yeah, and anyone that's listened to our show probably understands exactly why I was going to get it for him. The joke being, of course, that this is a book that was written back in like the 40s when the term boner meant a blooper or a goof, and it was actually written by Dr. Seuss. So like all of this was just beautiful, and I found it on eBay for like $20. And I let it slip to Sam because I was so excited about how hilarious and how perfect the gift was. And Sam reacted accordingly. Like, looked like he would have loved that, but he was like, you know what? It's a gift that I would actually really like, like something that would be useful, not just a goof gift. It was this record, this Leonard Nimoy record that was basically title alone just as creepy as the Pocketbook of Boners.
And the cover, too.
Yeah, and it's The Touch of Leonard Nimoy?
The Touch of Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah. So I've tracked that down.
You got the touch.
Track that down, and it ended up being actually even more cost efficient for me.
Oh,
so
yeah,
that was
$7
beneficial to me, and it was something that Sam actually wanted versus something that he would have just appreciated.
Yeah, much obliged.
Yeah.
Much obliged.
He watched us play Lego Batman 3.
Yeah, yeah. While we're on the topic of that,
Yes.
the DLC.
I've warned
since
people,
the last episode, I bought the season pass.
I've warned people who've come into the shop about that, and I was like, if you want some cool characters, fine, but be prepared for outside of the Man of Steel level, the DLC stuff, which is the Batman 75.
Yeah, how is the Man of Steel the best DLC episode?
Yeah, how do you screw up Batman 75? Like
you screw up the Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight. I mean, the Dark Knight's one thing that was disappointing, but Batman 75 should have been like the Batman 66 stuff, like an homage to like
the history of Batman.
Yeah, the history of Batman, and your Harley Quinn and Joker stuck in a room with like 3 different Batman logos.
You crash a Batman party.
Yeah,
that's
and,
what you do.
Batman's not there.
Yeah, no one's there.
No one there from the Batman universe except like just random goons.
Yeah, you just trash a Batman party.
Yes,
it's
the Man of Steel one. It's you basically play kind of the beginning.
Basically,
of
the prologue.
The
of Man of
prologue.
Steel.
Yeah.
So the Krypton.
All on Krypton.
Yeah, where you send off Baby Kal-El.
You're Russell Crowe for most of it, and the robot.
Yeah, and the robot looks like a
Doomsday there because that was part of an unused prologue backstory.
Yeah, but he's not. It's just you kind of fight Zod, but not really.
No, I remember we didn't know, like for the longest time you didn't know how to beat him. Yeah. Because that game does glitch out sometimes, but it wasn't a glitch. But the little the little robot looks like a iPhone or iPod,
a hovering iPod,
hovering earbud.
Yeah.
Not even the iPod itself.
But Sam and I, again, 28 years old, playing the game, and we were so tickled by the fact that we unlocked the multiplier to be like what? So every coin was times 240.
Try 640.
640. We were so fucking excited to get basically like millions of studs and unlock. I mean, we've unlocked over 100 people, right?
Yeah, we've unlocked the majority of the game now.
Yeah. It's a bummer because we kind of hit a point where it's like there's no challenge anymore.
It takes the challenge away.
Because I mean, there's still more people to unlock, but we unlocked composite Batman Superman. We unlocked Cyborg Superman. We unlocked Ambush Bug. We unlocked the Music Meister.
Yeah,
did you
I finally
Mothman? Or
Killer Moth?
Killer Moth.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's been a favorite of mine. I always unlock him like first or second.
And Alexander looked over his domain and wept because there were no more kingdoms to conquer.
It's basically how we felt. Like we were like, fuck yeah, we got like 10 million studs. Now we can unlock everybody in Dr. Fate, and we did. And then we're like, hey, you want to watch the last episode of Craig Ferguson? Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
it's still a great game. It was a lot of fun, and there's still some more people to unlock, but.
Yeah. It's just cleanup work at this point.
We'll move on to Indiana Jones or Star Wars or something.
When I was out doing last minute Christmas shopping, because I always do my Christmas shopping.
Me too, man. Me too.
I was at GameStop because I got the first 2 Uncharted games for my stepbrothers, and they already had the first 2 Uncharted games. They're like, "Oh yeah, it came with our PS3," and I was like, "Fuck you!" I went out and got them like the Borderlands games instead. But while I was at GameStop, I was like, "While I'm here." Mm-hmm. See how much Lego Star Wars goes. Yeah. It's like still like for a used.
Which one?
The Complete Saga.
Oh, Complete Saga. Okay.
Complete Saga, without the case, just the disc, is still $30
Seriously?
Yeah.
What the hell?
People love it. People love it.
Maybe just grab. I mean, we'll take a look, but like maybe just grab like the original trilogy. I mean, even the prequel Clone Wars stuff is really fun.
Yeah, it's all good.
And again, I have the Indiana Jones trilogy.
Sure. Yeah, it was. I only found one copy of it. No disc. $30.
Wow.
No disc?
Or no
just
case.
Disc.
Yeah.
No dice.
No, you just get the case and still have to pay $30.
Damn,
that's
you
can smell it. You can smell it.
Read the instruction book.
They even come with instruction books.
Now my grandson loves the Star Wars games. I bought him this, and there's no disc inside. There's no disc. I want to return it. I want to return it. I'm going to turn the game.
I'm so sorry, Seymour. I thought that this would have, your favorite Jar Jar Binks.
You don't own a PS2? What game? You have a Wii U? Is that what you have, little Johnny?
You went with Johnny. I went with Seymour. I don't know.
She doesn't know the names.
Yeah.
She gets confused.
She's got like 12 grandkids.
Yeah.
Speaking of video games, I'm as you guys know, I'm not much of a gamer, but I do enjoy the Grand Theft Auto games, and I got a message, a ding, from Steam that they were having a big sale, as they typically do around Christmas year end, and Grand Theft Auto 4, the most recent Grand Theft Auto game to come out on PC.
Okay, yeah.
Because 5 doesn't come out until like springtime 2015.
Yeah.
Was only like $5 on Steam, and I was like, hell yeah! My aunt just gave me $30 for Christmas. Gonna buy that, and then I spent the rest of the money on my Back to the Future 2 shirt.
Yeah.
Which
how's GTA 4? I've never played it.
It's pretty fun. I'm used to playing it on like the PlayStation 2. Not GTA 4, but like Grand Theft Auto in general.
Yeah.
And I don't have a gamepad for my PC, so it's really weird getting used to doing keyboard and mouse for this game. But so far the story is pretty solid. And, it's Liberty City is loosely based on New York, so it's fun, doing the typical me thing and while I'm going around being like, oh, hey, that's inspired by that. That's
while you're like blowing away the triads.
Yeah. So far, I'm only able to get to Brooklyn. I haven't unlocked the other boroughs.
Yeah.
The majority of it takes place, or at least the beginning of it takes place in fake Brooklyn, whatever the hell they call it in Liberty City.
Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, I mean, I a lot of my friends from out of town will come in, so I've been playing on their consoles, and that usually entails new Smash Brothers. And I'm still kind of figuring that out and getting good at it. Pac-Man kind of sucks. He's got a cool Final Smash, but Pac-Man kind of sucks. That's my big like takeaway.
You hear that, Pac-Man? If you're listening at home, fuck
yeah.
you.
I'm pretty good at straight up arcade Pac-Man. Chris has seen my Pac-Man skills on display.
On tabletop Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Or whatever you would call that.
Like a tabletop cabinet or whatever.
Yeah, well, I don't want people to think it's like D&D Pac-Man.
Yeah. I roll to eat this dot, and I have to roll again.
My mom's like super good at all those Pac-Man games. She has we bought her like an Atari plug-in thing to the or the cable box. Or
the thing that's just a joystick, but it has like 50
She's really
games
good.
in it.
Yeah, that's it for her.
My dad really likes Galaga.
Yeah?
Yeah. He kind of sucks at it, but he really likes Galaga.
I want to see your dad play that game. Get increasingly frustrated.
Jack Stone, Galaga star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a picture of him, like poorly photoshopped in like one of the planes, like
on top of he is one of the planes.
He's one of the. His head is just floating back and forth,
shooting lasers out of his bald spot.
Going, hey, Jake, hey, scaring me in the garage.
Speaking of games, one of my coworkers was showing me this new game that's still in like development mode, but they've released a beta that is only like $20 right now. And if you get the beta, you get the full version of the game when they're done with it, so you don't have to pay like the $60 for the full version or whatever. But it's basically the most physically accurate car crash game. I don't know how accurate the physics are for driving, but it's called BeamNG Driving, and he was showing me clips on YouTube that was just people like driving around and then crashing into things. And the reason why it's like so cool and the physics are so accurate is that it the physics like calculations are done as you're hitting an object, so it does it for each thing. It's not a pre-rendered crash, but it actually like calculates what quote unquote would happen, and then like because it's still in developer mode, they've unlocked it so that you can like mess with all kinds of physics, tweak things, and you can like drop friction. You can change the flow of time, so that you're able to like slow down and look at cool crashes and stuff like that. So I highly recommend people check it out. $20 is a little steep for something that's so undeveloped, in my opinion at least, but I am considering getting it mostly so that I can have the rest of it at no extra charge once it's done.
Yeah. There isn't any games on the kind of horizon that I've got my eye on.
Only one I can think of is the Mad Max game. That's gonna be like the open world.
Oh yeah.
I'm totally getting that.
I love open world games.
So basically, like Fallout and Mad Max.
It's basically Fallout, but they steal your interceptor in the beginning, and you got to find it. I think that's what I've heard, basically.
Yeah. Is it a tie into Fury Road?
I don't know. I think I thought in the trailer you have Dog, which is the name of his dog. His dog.
Yeah. So it takes place before Road Warrior.
It's got to, because spoiler, but unfortunately the dog, is killed in Road Warrior. But like.
Yeah.
And the interceptor is destroyed.
The interceptor, yeah, good point, is destroyed. The last of the interceptors. Yeah, I mean, that game was supposed to come out last year, 2014. I heard it's 2015, but the trailer looks really good, and I think I'm all for waiting a little longer to fix any bugs, and hopefully it'll be cool.
Yeah, no, the one of the worst things about like the gaming industry now is that developers are so preoccupied with like pre-orders and stuff like that that they rush games, and because all these kids are getting pre-orders, it's not showing up in terms of like sales that these games are subpar and whatnot. Yeah. So these developers keep doing it because like they're like, we've already sold the game.
Yeah.
Who cares? Well, we'll send out a patch. And
there's a lot of they kind of incentivize it by doing a lot of pre-order exclusives now too. Yeah. And I'm kind of glad they went the opposite route with Arkham Knight, where there is like a incentivized like if you pre-order the game you can play as Harley Quinn in challenge mode, but they delayed even after they announced it. And included the pre-order. They delayed Arkham Knight until June. It was originally supposed to come out in like October or November of this year. Yeah. And so that's going to probably be the entire reason I pick up a PlayStation 4.
I'm still debating, because if I did, I'd pick up an Xbox One, but
I'm so close to picking up a PS4 so I can get Grand Theft Auto 5, because my friend Nicole plays it on her Twitch, and it looks so fun. I would love to play it with her because the Steam, like if I get it on PC, Steam and PS4 aren't.
No cross-platform.
Which I could have sworn they did that with the PS3. Or like you could have your Steam account attached to your PS3 or something like that.
Well, certain games do have cross-platform functionality.
Yeah.
Though I don't think GTA 5 is one of them.
Yeah, no. I know GTA 4, the online, isn't cross-platform. So, wouldn't be surprised if they didn't do that with 5.
Now, going back to Christmas real quick. So, last episode we talked about the interview, and in the days following us recording that episode, maybe on the day we released that episode.
It was the day we released it.
Yeah.
Typical. Same thing that Marvel keeps doing.
Yeah, Sony announced that they were releasing it on video on demand, and you could rent it on Hulu or what was
Google
that?
Play.
Google Play, yeah. YouTube. So,
and I think iTunes got added to that recently.
Yeah. So you guys saw it.
Yeah, I rented it on Google Play, and I watched it on Christmas Day. I snuck away from my family for a little while and just watched it while they were recovering from dinner. And then oddly enough, the next day, like my parents were talking about it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I rented that." And so I queued it up for them to watch because it's a 48-hour rental, and you can watch it as many times as you want during those 48 hours. And I really enjoyed it. Like I was really worried that it was gonna suffer from being overhyped, just because of all the controversy that was surrounding it. Mm-hmm. But I was able to sit down and just kind of like wipe that from my brain and just like kind of just go in there with the expectations of it being a goofy James Franco, Seth Rogen movie, and was satisfied. That's really that for me. That's what it came down to. It was a goofy movie by Seth Rogen and James Franco that just happened to reflect very poorly on Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, I watched it on Christmas as well through YouTube. Rented it on YouTube. And actually my entire family watched it. My mom really wanted to watch it. And we kept telling her, like, "Mom, you're going to hate this movie. We know what kind of things you like, and this is not going to be one you like." She's like, "I know, but I love James Franco." So we're like, okay. And I think my dad put it best. Out of 10 for laughs and being funny, it was like a 7 or 8. I laughed a lot. It was really, I had a good time watching it. As a movie, it was like a 4. You know what I mean? But like Chris said, nobody in our family, and I'm sure Chris, same thing.
Yeah, no one went in thinking it was high art.
Went in thinking, this was going to be the be all end all.
No.
I like James Franco a lot. I like Seth Rogen. And
it was better than Green Hornet.
Oh well, yeah.
How did it compare to This Is the End or Pineapple Express?
Oh, both those movies below this movie.
Yeah, no, it's out of those 3, it's definitely third on the list.
Yeah, it is. I would put Pineapple Express. Well, I don't know. Yeah, Pineapple Express is number 1. I think, because
I sat there and thought about it too.
Yeah.
Pineapple Express probably number 1.
I did a millisecond run through of This Is the End because This Is the End is freaking hilarious.
It's great.
But James Franco and Pineapple Express, man.
Well, I think the problem
nominated for a Golden Globe.
Yeah. The problem with This Is the End, like in hindsight, is just too full of celebrity cameo.
Mm-hmm.
Like it, I mean, and that was the whole draw of it. That was the allure, that it was all these actors playing themselves. But like, but Pineapple Express was I think better because it wasn't just like, oh, look at that, look at this cameo.
And that was a movie that when I saw in the theaters, I hated Pineapple Express.
Oh yeah.
And it wasn't until like on DVD, I guess I just watched it again, or my brother had mentioned, hey man, how funny is that one scene? And I was like, really? And I watched it again. Kind of same with Step Brothers too, which I love now. But the interview is.
But it's still good.
It was a fun little Christmas experience. I never thought in a million years we'd sit on Christmas Day, because my mom does this funny thing wherever, like, if we cuss or say something inappropriate, she's like, not on Christmas. And here we are watching the interview on Christmas, which is the exact opposite of all that. But it was fun, and I had never rented anything on YouTube. It's funny because I was able to pull it up on the Nook. Because I guess through the Blu-ray, I don't know if we could purchase anything through the YouTube through the Blu-ray player. So I was able to be like, oh, check this out. I thought it was really cool. I pulled up on the Nook, YouTube, downloaded it, hit the little button to connect to the Blu-ray, and I was like, check it out, Dad, check it out. I looked up and turned around, and he was asleed. So we watched a couple of If It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia episodes too. Just no Christmas ones. We just watched. I had recently finished season 9. And I think my favorite episode of that season is The Gang Saves the Day, where you get... And I hate Dennis, but I fucking love Dennis. And I think that episode made me realize how much I love him, because I don't know if you've seen any of it.
It's the most fucked up
his vision, I don't it's mind-blowing.
So as a bit of a setup, the Gang Saves the Day episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is in the most recent season 9 on Netflix. And it's the series' 100th episode, and to celebrate this occasion, the gang finds themselves in the convenience store in the middle of a stick-up, and you see how each member of the gang kind of fantasizes what they would do.
Yeah, and most of it is, there's only one person who fantasizes how to end it, and that's really Mac.
Yeah.
Everybody else, it starts off where that's kind of like a stepping stone to get to something else that's really crazy.
Yeah.
And so...
Mac... Like with this season, they're basically just like Mac's gay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, when he's in heaven with the jacked God and angels.
Yeah.
What do? We sit here and don't answer people's prayers. But I remember watching it again, and I was like, man, the Charlie one is like really sweet. It's weird, but it's up. It's basically up.
Yeah,
but it's sweet. But yeah, the Dennis one.
I remember seeing that clip online, and doesn't he just like marry the
marries the waitress?
Barista,
and
they have kids and.
They go to the kids store. They go to the marriage store.
Yeah.
The rats build a house and a wedding dress. But yeah, Dennis's calls back to the news reporter
from season 7.
Yes, who has
enormous
breasts and
mammary glands.
Yeah, and Dennis. This is the only one I'm going to go in detail because it's the best. The Frank's is funny. He just eats hot dogs. His is the shortest. He comes out and he, like, in his classic Dennis fashion, like, tries to smooth talk the robber, and he gets shot in the head. And he kind of like starts slurring his speech and then wakes up, and he was in a coma and whatever. And one of his first lines is, "Does my dick work?" And the doctor's like, "No, your penis doesn't work." He's like, "Kill me." And then basically the well-chested news reporter is now a like rehabilitation nurse, and it's just him being rehabilitated with her, and then she fucking gets hit by a fucking bus, and she gets put in that situation where she's like in a coma, and the doctors will like, thank God, if you, Dennis, know more than anyone else what it's like to be rehabilitated and go through all of this, she's lucky to have you. And he's like, what about the breasts? And they're like, I'm afraid they exploded and there's nothing we could do. And he's like, oh, okay, can you give us a minute? And then smothers her.
It's so fucking dark.
And that, for me, that summed up Dennis.
And I love how when Dennis awakens from that fantasy, you can tell
his
even
look.
he is disturbed by how dark his fantasy is.
He's the only one, because everyone else has this like they're kind of like pleased with it.
Yeah,
and Dennis
like,
is this little smirk, and not a smirk. He kind of looks up and kind of like shakes his head like, "What the fuck was that?"
Yeah, what did I just think of?
And it's yeah. I mean, it was a really good season. I like season 9 a lot.
Did you get to the Lethal Weapon episode?
Oh, Lethal Weapon was great.
Yeah.
When Lethal Weapon 6 is just so good. And it it plays on all the ones that made the previous ones funny, where they switch roles. It's just a shittily made movie. There's so many great moments in season 9. The one where they realize that the quarantine episode where they don't actually have the flu, they're just alcoholics.
But Danny
DeVito is covered in hand sanitizer, and he shaved all of his body, and he's just on the floor like a worm, like, must get clean.
I must be pure.
Must be pure. And it's so good.
The episode, and I mentioned this like in I think it was last week, where he's like stuck in the
kids like the
ladder, the spiral ladder, and
get me out of here.
He's in his underwear, and the entire time they're like, this is part of his master plan.
That's when Roddy Piper comes back, right? The maniac.
Yeah,
so
and he
good.
cuts back, and he's just still stuck in there.
I just remember Danny DeVito going like, "Hurry, the kids are coming! It's almost recess," and he's just stuck in there because you were saying originally they wanted him to be naked,
yeah,
right? And he was like, "No."
Well, I feel like it's almost like a game for because the guys that play Mac, Dennis and Charlie are also the head writers, and I feel like it's almost a game to see what can we get Danny DeVito to do next. Because especially in the later seasons, he does some really just weird, not necessarily
Get
fucked
him
up.
naked a lot too.
They love to grease him up and get him down to his boxers. Yeah, just have him run.
See him erupt from a couch.
Yeah. Hatch from a couch.
Yeah.
Oh,
completely
man.
naked.
Yeah, but that's why. I mean, I've been watching Entourage lately, and
Did you see the movie trailer?
I did not. I haven't
Neither have I.
I haven't finished the series yet. It really is kind of like a male, almost like a gender swap of Sex in the City.
Yeah.
4 committed singles in a major American city, trying to find their place in the world while hooking up with as many people as possible.
And drinking cosmopolitans.
And not unlike Sex in the City, none of the characters really learn anything. There's like no major arc or emotional payoff. And I was talking to somebody at a bar earlier, and they were like, "Oh no, man, no, it's one of the best series ever. One of the best series ever." It's like, why? Why is it one of the best series ever?
Because it was the first time that I ever wanted to see an Aquaman movie.
Yeah. Is it like particularly? It's not particularly funny. Like Kevin Dillon does a great job.
He's great.
He's one of my favorite.
Yeah, no, he's probably my favorite character in the show.
Yeah, it's
Always talking out of the side of his mouth.
Yeah,
hey, little bro.
maybe.
He also looks a lot like my brother Russell.
I know.
Like if my brother Russell were like a kind of like a meathead and like constantly like athletically fit like Dylan is.
Kevin Dillon's always like flexing.
Yeah,
kind of.
Yeah. If my brother fucking if Russell like walked around like that, he would fucking be
that. Yeah, dare I say it? Because of his performance in this film, dare I say it? Kevin Dillon, my favorite Dillon brother.
Yeah, I can go that far.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He's brothers with Matt Dillon.
Yeah,
The whole shtick of the cast is that like all of them except for the lead Adrian are like someone's brother.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
or like son or something like that.
They're all his friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he brings them on when he gets his first like major.
Well, no. I mean the actors themselves.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know about Jerry Ferrera, and I know the guy that plays Eric.
Yeah, he's
Kevin Connolly.
Yeah, Connolly's.
I know his first role was in Rocky V.
Yeah,
it's one of the kids. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's Jennifer Connelly's brother.
Oh. Okay, cool.
Really? Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Or Billy Connolly's son.
Billy Connolly.
And I can't remember if those and Jennifer Connelly and Billy Connolly aren't related, right? They just have the same name. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's Jennifer Connelly's brother.
Okay, well that's
pretty
cool.
sweet.
Like like just like with Dylan, I'm pretty sure that was like the idea that like the cute thing that Mark Wahlberg wanted to do is to have like all these actors be famous adjacent.
Yeah,
You know,
it's always cool when like Wahlberg shows up. He's only shown up twice so far in the series.
Yeah.
But
He's in the pilot for like a fleeting second.
yeah, they pass him like on the studio backlot.
Yeah.
He's like, "Yo,
Hey, welcome to my life. How's it going?
yeah."
Good. Okay. Good. Hey.
He's like, when they were asking,
you want to go listen to Marky Mark of the Funky Bunch?
he references the Funky Bunch in his second appearance, and I was like, "Oh, it's cool because you never reference that now."
Yeah.
Does he?
He can only reference it in a controlled setting that he has. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because when he did Rockstar during the credits, it's all obviously they're playing the music like a music video, and someone puts in one of the Funky Bunch songs, and he kind of stops for a second, like "fuck you" kind of thing, and then he just goes with it and starts like kind of half-ass dancing to it. It's kind of funny.
Not nearly the same reaction that
Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
No,
We'll just keep guessing.
Friends,
Jack
from
Nicholson.
Friends.
Jennifer Aniston?
Yeah, Jennifer Aniston had
I
at
saw
the end
that.
of We Are the Millers where they played the Friends theme song, and like she was like embarrassed but like happy, and like everyone was having a good time, right from
Sure.
the get go. Whereas like Mark apparently was like, fine.
It was a number one release. He's one of those
I'm
artists.
trying to remember what Marky Mark sang. Like I know his major hit. Like I know it, but I can't remember what it is.
Good Vibrations.
That's what. Okay, yeah.
Feel the vibration.
It's the good vibration.
Sorry, guys.
Well, we just guaranteed that Mark Wahlberg will never listen to our show.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Punch us
and or sue us.
Yeah. Who knows?
I mean, I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
Of like his film career.
Hey, Sam likes the Red Sox, so he's got that.
Yeah,
that's Sam can bond with Mark.
I played Max Payne.
I saw Max Payne. Actually, you owe me Mark Wahlberg because I saw Max Payne.
I saw The Happening.
Yeah, me too.
Even he, like in interviews, has been like the big reason I took that role is because I wasn't playing a meathead. I was a teacher. I was a teacher.
Boogie Nights, man. That's all you need, Mark.
Boogie Nights.
Boogie
is
Nights.
good,
I
yeah.
still need to
He's so
see
good.
Boogie Nights
Oh,
all the way
shit.
through. Like
So
I've seen
good.
bits of it.
So good. And he's got that new movie, The Gambler.
Mm.
The one that looks like the trailer anyway. I haven't seen the actual film, but the trailer looks like a shitty vodka commercial, which is to say a vodka commercial. Because it's kind of like
It kind of looks like that. That what is it? 1800.
Yeah, where they're just kind of walking through with like, and it's got the same like color scheme, and he's got the long hair and this open collar,
Glasses, black glass,
and he just sits there and tips his glass to everyone, but doesn't say anything.
Yeah,
Ray Liotta's there, like
yeah.
Willem Dafoe's in the background.
Yeah, what's that Kiefer Sutherland liquor?
Oh, I don't know.
But
I didn't even know he had his own.
Yeah, well, at least he endorses it.
Right. Much like Dan Aykroyd's Skull Vodka.
Well, Aykroyd actually owns
does
Skull
he?
Vodka.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned that when we were hanging out a couple days ago, and I was like, "Really? Are you sure? Maybe." Huh?
Which is a shame because it's like
It's terrible, but it's got the coolest bottle ever.
yeah, well done on that one, Aykroyd.
Yeah, I would love that, but actually, I can't personally say that it's terrible. I've never had it. Let me go ahead and put that asterisk right there. Never had it. Not really a vodka person, so I never really intend to try it. But like one day, I was at a bar and I had no idea what to drink, and I saw that they had it there behind the bar. The bartender was like, "What do you want?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Is that Skull thing any good?" And the bartender looked back at me, and was like, "No."
Yeah, it's I feel like most people would agree that the better the vodka, the smoother it is. It's it's not one of those things where you kind of want, like with Scotch, some people prefer like really smoky Scotch.
Mm-hmm.
With vodka, it's like it's a question of how smooth.
Yeah, one of the ways to get a more expensive vodka is to just filter it more times, which will smooth it out a bit more.
Yeah, this ain't smooth vodka. So
it's a Scotch man's vodka.
I guess, yeah, it's an Aykroyd man's vodka. So
Josh will love it.
yes,
Imaginary friend Josh.
yeah, absolutely.
Which we've been lacking on giving, saying his full character name.
I mean, you guys are the only one that give a shit about the character name.
He demanded that we call him Imaginary
Friend Josh. Well, it'll kind of like Yeah, put it in
because he wants people to believe that he doesn't actually exist, and that I just
like,
kind of referenced him when I'm like, oh yeah, a friend made out with his sister once,
just like Ghost Dad, starring Bill Cosby.
Yeah, which we all pretend never existed.
Yeah. I mean, these days, shit, most people pretend Bill Cosby doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Talk about. I mean, so I've been cleaning out my grandfather's place, and one of the VHS things he had was Bill Cosby himself, and it's just like, that's like, because that's a shame, because I grew up with the Cosby Show, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then you kind of find out all this stuff, and even though he hasn't been formally convicted, it's stacking up pretty poorly for the cause.
Yeah.
It's not looking like he's.
It is an upward battle for him.
Yeah,
I don't think it's even a battle. I mean, I think it's.
Yeah, I think he's basically given up.
It's done.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah, but to change topics, the
happier note.
Yeah. On a happier note, So I've been. I also finished the first season of The Killing.
Yeah.
That's to kind of
still on my to-do list.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really. I mean, between that and the Jennifer Lopez movie, Enough, I'm really in the mood for seeing Happy Billy Campbell again. But yeah,
I mean, like you said.
Like, where's that Rocketeer Star Trek Next Generation?
I remember, I think he, in an interview once, was like, Bruce Willis is bringing back John McClane and Stallone's bringing back Rocky. He's like, why can't I bring back, almost like why can't I bring back the Rocketeer? And
Jake was like, oh.
Well, I mean, I remember my favorite Twitter conversation I've ever had with anybody was I sent him a tweet basically saying, like, hey, man, the Rocketeer, like, it's as cheesy as it sounds, but I'm just going to go with it. I was like, the moment you, like, took off in the rocket pack, I was at a movie theater in New Jersey. My feet, this is not longer than 140 characters. I'm getting to the point. Like, my feet couldn't hit the ground. I could barely get them over the seat, and I saw him take off for the first time, How do I look? Like a hood ornament. And when he took off, I was like, my imagination took off with him, and that was it. Like, that changed everything for me.
You believed a man could fly?
I did, because I saw it on the screen. And
because it made sense, because he had a rocket on his back.
Yeah. And I sent him something. I was like, hey, man, like, I just want to thank you. Like, you that movie changed my life, and is got me started with everything, my imagination, everything. And he wrote back, and he wrote back and said something like, Dave Stevens, who created The Rocketeer, he's like, thank you very much, Jake. Dave Stevens is looking down and smiling on your tweet. And that was like the greatest thing in the world, because, unfortunately Dave Stevens has passed away. And, and we had this little conversation back and forth.
You had the first comic book appearance of The Rocketeer.
I do. Yeah. That was my holy grail. And I was at New York Comic Con, and he shows up in a John Byrne penned Stars. Oh shit! Now I'm fucking blanking on it.
Star Search.
It's Star Slayer, or I think it. I can't remember what it is.
Sounds awesome.
I'm blanking on what it is now. But it's second issue. In the first issue, at the very back page, there's a picture like, hey, backup story. Next one is The Rocketeer, and it was the last booth. Me and my friend were walking around, and I don't really buy as much stuff at cons anymore. I was kind of just there. It's a fun environment, and every time I would look to see if they had it, and it was the last booth we were at, and I just was like, Dad, what's the point? I looked, and there was like the book I've been looking for my entire life. I want to collect, the entire run of The Rocketeer, and it was $10. And that's the great thing, because for me, that should be thousands and thousands of dollars. That's so important to me, that book.
That's your Action Comics #1.
Oh yeah, to a point. My Action Comics #1 is Action Comics #1.
That's your Detective Comics #27.
Yeah, it's just like I was saying, just personally for me,
that's
because The Rocketeer
whatever the
is
first appearance in Nightwing was.
Yeah.
Teen Titans #7,
number 44.
Oh, that's close.
I have it.
That's right. And I was like, oh my
was
god,
that
oh
more
my god.
accurate?
Yeah, I guess. And, The Rocketeer is like my jam. But and the credit card machine wasn't working, and the guy goes, how much do you have? And he's like, how much? I was like, I got $7. He's like, sold. Boom.
Wow.
And that was it. I was like, I don't need, it was such an important thing. But anyway, yeah, it was cool. I did, going back to, to Bill Campbell, and we just talked about The Rocketeer for a little bit. I was like, hey man, like, it's great, great to talk to you about The Rocketeer. And, it's become this thing that people still love. And, he seemed really, he loves how much the Rocketeer has become a thing for people, and then he to be known as the Rocketeer nowadays. They celebrated the 20th anniversary a couple years ago, and he was there for it, and
he lives in the state.
Yeah,
in like Charlotte.
In our state? Really?
Yeah, and like
we should go out there.
And
just the three of us with like billboards, like please sign my breasts, Billy Campbell.
And
up and away. Wait.
Yeah, and so I remember, it was just really cool to talk to him about it, and he was talking about it was 3 or 4 kind of tweets back and forth about just the interaction of working on the Rocketeer. But yeah, I mean, he was on that show. What was the TV show he was on?
Star Trek:
Once
The
and
Next
Again.
Generation? Oh,
was it Once and Again? He was on for a while, and he was in the was it Killing Lincoln? They did a miniseries.
Was he Lincoln?
He was Lincoln, and he's on that TV show about that virus that gets loose.
Contagion?
No, shit. I'm blanking on
Helix?
everything today, man. Helix, yeah. He's one of the main guys on that. But yeah, I mean, season 2 is even more of a bummer for Billy Campbell.
I mean,
yeah,
because I know you want to watch it.
Yeah.
So I won't talk about what happened. I just watched the season 2 premiere before coming here, and it was like, ooh, okay.
Yeah.
That's where we're going. Okay.
I feel so bad that my memory always betrays me when I think of the Rocketeer, and I think that it's Billy Zane, not Billy Campbell. Because, I can see Billy Zane as the Rocketeer. Like, I think that would be cool to,
he was the Phantom. He was
pulp
hero.
Yeah.
One thing I always
Billy Zane and Billy Campbell teaming up as their pulp heroes.
That'd be good. That'd be good.
Because since I'm a bigger fan of the Phantom than
one of the things
Slam.
I would have always loved to have
Slam evil.
To have asked.
It's so sad my Phantom ring broke.
To have asked Dave Stevens would have been like, I'm convinced that he designed Cliff Secord off of Tyrone Power. Like, if you look at the way he's drawn, which is cool. And yeah, I mean, Billy Campbell's great, and I don't know. I think the Killing, I think, kind of reignited some interest in him, and he's been doing stuff, and he saved someone's life. And I think there was like some capsized boat, and he's a big boat guy, and he saved some people's lives.
Kind of like Harrison Ford in the rescuing people from forest fires.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. And Bill Campbell, is related to Bruce Campbell, so it's pretty
they?
sweet. Mm-hmm.
They do both have quite the chin.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. And Billy Campbell is in a great episode of Frasier.
Oh.
Well, there you go.
So
he also plays the outrageous Akona on an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Is he really on Star Trek?
Yeah, he was also the first pick for he made the short list to be Commander Riker.
Oh wow!
But I think he wanted to focus on features or something, and so they got Jonathan Frakes instead. But he, as kind of a nod, they brought him back as this like this space pirate known as the outrageous Akona,
nice.
And he gets to hook up with Terry Hatcher.
That's pretty sweet.
Nice.
Yeah,
worked out.
I always hope that if Disney is, because there's always been rumblings about them rebooting the Rocketeer, that he would play Peavy. That'd be a great kind of like fan service thing, because Peavy is basically the right hand man, the Cliff Secord, and the Rocketeer mythos. And I think that'd be really a nice little nod to have him to to play that character. Yeah, he's great on The Killing. He's really
great in
stuff.
Enough. That Jennifer Lopez movie where she has enough, and then she undergoes like self-defense classes and kicks him out of an apartment building.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, and he dies.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry, Bill Campbell.
Sorry, Bill.
So what TV have you been watching, Chris?
I recently started watching the Sarah Connor Chronicles, the short-lived Terminator show from 2007, starring Lena Headey. I forget the name of the guy that plays John Carter, and
John Connor.
Yeah, that too.
I do that all the time too. I say John Carter all the time.
And Summer Glau as the Terminator, who is sent back in time to protect everyone. And it's all right. I mean, it's definitely like one of those fan service shows like that. I kind of lump a lot of shows together that and it happens with like a lot of sci-fi shows, but like Supernatural is one of those fan service shows. Firefly was a lot of Joss Whedon just in general is, but it falls within that category of like it doesn't take itself super seriously, but at the same time it seems like it's a very serious show, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm about halfway, maybe 2/3 of the way through the second and final season. I'm looking forward to how it ends, because if I remember correctly, it kind of just got canceled. It didn't really have a way to wrap it up. but it's fine because they had more Terminator movies, and it's kind of all hazy on what is and isn't canon anymore. Mainly because if the show is canon, then it pretty much negates everything that happens in Terminator 3. But then, and I can't remember whether or not 4, Terminator Salvation was like, oh yeah, everything that happened in Terminator 3 is totally legit, so it's kind of all up in the air. And then Terminator Genesis will clearly, or will surely clear everything up or make everything worse.
Yeah, Salvation, takes place after Skynet becomes self-aware.
Mm-hmm.
So it could very well.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily contradict anything.
I'm just trying to remember that it, whether or not it references certain things happening or not. Like, the big difference between the Sarah Connor Chronicles and Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines is whether or not Sarah Connor is alive. Because Terminator 3, if I remember correctly, takes place in like 2003.
Yeah, it takes place, I think, the year it came out.
Whereas Sarah Connor Chronicles takes place in 2007. And
don't they warp to the future?
They do, but yeah. So like, and that's why the Sarah Connor Chronicles kind of negates Terminator 3, and also at the end of Terminator 3, Skynet comes online. Which means that Skynet came online in 2003, and then Sarah Connor Chronicles is saying that Skynet comes online around 2007. So, it's a silly TV show that, if you look at the series in general, it kind of has a hazy timeline just because they keep going back in the past and changing things.
I feel like it was the first time I saw Lena Headey too, because that predates 300 and Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm. It's what kind of put her on the map for most people, I think.
Yeah.
It's definitely the first time I saw her. Like, I started watching it, like, because I had seen the pilot when it came out, but I hadn't really watched the show. And then, like, since then, I've seen 300 and Game of Thrones.
And Dredd.
Yeah, she's Mama in Dredd. And I went back.
Clan.
And I went back, and now I'm watching Sarah Connor Chronicles again, and I'm like, I recognize this woman. Who the hell? And I looked on her IMDb, and I was like, oh my God, it's Cersei.
And there you go.
Yeah. But, and then like all these other things that she's been in that I've seen as well that I, for some reason, had never, connected the dots until watching Sarah Connor Chronicles.
I recently finished Death Note.
Finished? Like all of it, or just like turned it off at the appropriate time?
Oh, at the a lot of people kind of theorize was the original ending.
Yeah. Well, according to legend, the guy that wrote it was kind of like letting it organically write itself.
Yeah.
And got to the end of the story around like episode 10-ish.
No, it's like episode like 26-ish. Yeah,
then there's still like another like 20 episodes after that.
11,
he still had a deal to finish several more episodes and was like, well, let me pull some shit out of my ass.
You'll know if you've never seen the show before, you'll know it. It's pretty clear when it should have ended, or when you could kind of put a stop on it.
Much like the end of season 5 for Supernatural,
right?
If I may reference that show again.
Yeah. How many times that and The West Wing for me?
Yeah.
Like, oh man, those first 4 seasons.
I started Newsroom.
Yeah.
And I sent Sam a text because I know he had finished it, and I had watched one episode. The third to last episode. I think I came downstairs.
That was a great one-season show, wasn't it?
And I
still haven't seen
the
first
season.
Season.
The pilot was free on like pretty much everything to stream or download, and I was like, all right, let's do it. And because I enjoyed the dialogue, and I like Aaron Sorkin, and I was like blown away with the pilot.
Mm-hmm.
So I texted Sam. I was like, "Oh my god, dude! Oh my god, that the pilot is so amazing!" And all he writes back is, "Dude, West Wing," in like in all capital letters. I'm like, "I'll get there. It's on Netflix. I'll get there."
If you liked the pilot of Newsroom, that's basically the first 4 seasons of the West Wing.
Yeah. The quality never
more or less
strongly,
consistently.
Yeah, there's not a strong dip in quality. In fact, the West Wing gets like. It's like under Sorkin's tenure is like a piece of oak. Every season gets better, but to go back to
and then you can feel it when he leaves the show.
Yeah, and then it gets kind of better after season 5. Still not as good, but yeah, the Newsroom. I think the Newsroom is one of those shows that comes out the gate and it's like, yeah, this is what news should be. Yeah, and then it kind of like loses sight of that. It spends too much time on subplots that aren't really vital.
Mm-hmm.
on characters that maybe aren't the most captivating characters.
Yeah, it tries to make certain characters a thing that just don't need to be a thing.
Like female characters outside of Olivia Munn's Sloane, kind of.
Yeah. Which is a shame.
Yeah.
You know,
because Emily Mortimer is a great actress.
Yeah,
Alison
she's great.
Pill
I
is a
like her
great
a lot.
actress.
Yeah, love Alison Pill.
But both of those characters, especially Alison Pill in season 2, don't get a whole hell of a lot to do.
Yeah, I remember
or at
being
least,
like,
yeah, good stuff.
I remember being like, what the hell happened to Alison Pill during the entire course of season 2? Not just because her character goes through a really weird change, but just because the character just wasn't written that well.
Yeah, it's like they tried to force her into a more interesting like headspace, and it didn't.
And it just ended up being kind of like the wounded female archetype that it just overplayed and unnecessary.
But enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I had posted something on Facebook and Twitter, and pretty much everything was enjoy it while it lasts because it dips in quality. And then I had talked to one or two other people.
Every season starts out great.
Yeah.
Of which there's only 3, and the series finale is great too.
Yeah.
So
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I talked to only one person who's like, it doesn't dip. It never dips in quality. It's a great show all the way through. I'm like, okay. Nice to hear it both sides.
Oddly enough, speaking of Alison Pill real quick, that was actually the moment when her character gets introduced in Snowpiercer, when I was like, oh, now I'm interested. Oddly enough, that like her scene was just beautiful in my opinion, and that was the where I kind of got sucked into the movie and started enjoying it instead of just being like, what the fuck is going on? Because it's a weird movie.
It is a weird movie.
But I recommend checking it out. It's worth it. It's worth seeing.
Yeah, it's on Netflix for free.
Yeah.
But so Newsroom.
It's
which is also worth checking out.
You know, aside from like really loving it, and I'm on I just finished episode 3. Jeff Daniels yells a lot. That was like one of my points. He's very good in it, but man, he yells a lot, and he's kind of scary, man. Like there's a couple moments where he's just like screaming at people, and I'm like, shit. Get out of my face, Jeff. But yeah, I mean, I was talking to Sam, and I love when he owns people on that show.
Yeah,
it's
beautiful.
so fucking great. Like he just eviscerates people on that show, and you could tell Jeff Daniels, like any actor, loves obviously to have really great words to work with, and he does, and he just is on fire, just ripping people a new one on all sides of the spectrum. So I'm looking forward to it. I that was something in the back of my mind. I've always like, yeah, he's kind of like True Detective or Breaking Bad, where I was like, I definitely want to watch Newsroom. I definitely like, majority of the cast, and Sorkin has written some slam bangers. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I'll let you guys. I'll keep you guys informed if it if I feel like it's starting to dip big time.
Yeah, and if you ever watch The Trouble with Tribbles.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
25 episodes, still haven't done it.
Who knows, man? Who knows?
But
I could have watched it months ago, and I'm just waiting to pounce.
I will say, to go back to Death Note.
Right, because we kind of...
Yeah, I know. I'm aware. The first 10 episodes you watch those, and it's like some of the best anime I've ever seen. It kind of goes off the rails when they introduce this female character that is like... It's like a textbook on how not to establish a strong, well-written female character. Misa Amane is pretty weak. They've got like some strong female characters, which they unfortunately don't do a whole lot of, given the nature of the show. I mean, it's called Death Note. Not everybody's going to make it out, standing up. But it's still pretty good. And then I know some people are like, oh, just like give up on the show after that natural ending. It's those last 11 episodes aren't bad. They're just there's a difference in like tone and in latitude and everything with all that. And what I find fascinating about that show, or found fascinating since I'm done with it now, is it's not often you get a series that focuses on the title's antagonist. And Death Note definitely focuses. I mean, and it's not a huge spoiler. You find out he's like he's a shitbag pretty early. But that's one of those shows. I'm trying to think of other shows that focus on the bad guy. I mean, I guess you could say like certainly Hannibal.
Yeah,
focuses on the bad guy.
Breaking Bad.
Though the interesting thing about Breaking Bad is they always introduce somebody. They always pit Walt against somebody that's worse.
Yeah, up to a point, and then season 5, it really kind of just they turn it.
Well, even with the like neo-Nazis.
Yeah, but I mean, like, when I mean they turn it, it's like only like a handful of episodes left. It's not like at the beginning of season 5. It's like right now, but for me, there was a clear moment where you stop. Like I there was any sympathy for Walt was gone, and that's not me saying a decline in the show. It's like the exact opposite. That's how good that show is.
Well, I would certainly say the beginning of season 5, before he really brings in the neo-Nazis, before he brings in Jesse Plemons and all that.
Yeah.
He's all Todd.
Yeah, yeah.
Todd.
Fucking
Todd.
discount Matt Damon from Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he in Star Wars Episode 7? I heard rumors they were
Really?
thinking about it. Maybe I think
everyone was saying Aaron Paul was supposed to be Luke Skywalker. I remember everyone was saying that he was going to be playing like a younger Luke
for
Skywalker,
flashbacks.
and he was just like, nope. Like he was on Twitter. He's like, I love that you guys think that, but no.
Yeah. See me in Exodus, Gods and Kings.
Yeah.
Anybody actually see Exodus,
Nope.
Gods and Kings?
Nope. No, and I love Ridley Scott, but nope.
I love most of it.
And you brought up an interesting point when we were talking about that. Is the era of Christian Bale kind of fading out?
Well, I feel like he lost a lot of public favor points because of the Terminator Salvation League.
Yeah. Although he dealt with it in an interesting, going on the radio show and like not being like the publicist, checking every word kind of thing, and talking about it to a point. But I feel like you know what actually kind of was really weird for me with him was his Batman, not his Batman performance, but the way he was talking about when Ben Affleck became Batman. The last thing I expected was him to have this almost schoolboy jealousy about it. Now, for me, I mean, I'd probably do it the exact same way. If I was playing Batman and then it was someone else's, I'd be bummed.
Yeah. I only read it in text form, and I didn't get kind of what you read in text could come off different in
Well, he
audio
said
or
he
video.
he sat for 30 minutes in silence and had this kind of basically jealousy kind of moment of, like, well, okay, I guess that was quick for Ben Affleck,
Yeah.
Okay. And it wasn't like off-putting. It just I was surprised that was the Christian Bale kind of response to it. Michael Keaton had the best, where he's just like, no, I'm secure, I'm Batman.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm Batman.
Now, and again, I think Christian Bale's a great actor. I don't think he's like losing talent or anything like that. I just think that it's funny. I think the momentum swung to like this Keaton renaissance now, where like Keaton is the man.
Yeah, I think he's kind of hit that point in his career where they can be looked back and kind of appreciated. They've kind of, because it's been 2 decades since he's been Batman, and I don't know. I feel the same way about Batman, the same way I do about James Bond, about Doctor Who. They're all Batman. They're all Doctor Who. They're all fun.
It just the Christian Bale thing was weird. I thought it would have been like he's like, because I always got the image or I just got the idea that he was done with it.
Yeah,
and I remember that he was like,
surprised
it's it, and then he's like, I had this serious moment where I was like, all right, I'll do it again. And I just didn't expect Christian Bale that that he actually had that. I thought for him it was very much like Christopher Nolan's done with it. I'm done with it. And to find out that he was like, there was a moment when I was like ready to do it again, and I was like, well, okay, wow, that's
Yeah, and he's like, well, you know what? I'm 40. I can't do that. Guess what? Ben Affleck's like 42.
Ben Affleck's older than you.
Yeah.
that was just a slam at Ben Affleck.
Yeah. I mean, I've always heard rumors, like when they were first looking to cast Batman for Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Yeah.
They were, I've always heard rumors that Christian Bale wasn't completely done with the role. But I think the big reason is they don't want to confuse people. It's like, wait, so are his Batman movies...
Yeah, does that mean that Joseph Gordon-Levitt's going to be Batman in another trilogy? And it's like, no.
So, is he on the police bankroll? And if so, how much does he break it down?
What's he making after taxes?
Yeah.
After taxes, he's making fuck all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, but yeah, Christian Bale is. I mean,
to be fair, how much outside of Batman, what other Christian Bale starring vehicles have you kind of gone out of your way to see?
The Fighter,
The Prestige.
Well, he was supporting in that.
Yeah, but I mean, he stole the show in that.
Absolutely, he does a great job. The Prestige
and won an Oscar for it.
Yeah.
Prestige, and this is pre-Batman, but like, American Psycho was my first real glimpse into like, dude, this guy is.
He does a good job.
He's solid.
Yeah, he does a good job in Rescue Dawn.
Yeah, he's very good in Rescue Dawn.
Yeah.
I never saw Out of the Furnace. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, I always kind of look at it, and it's one of those movies where I'm going through like all the stuff on Netflix, and I always kind of stop, and I'm like, oh,
yeah.
And then I just keep going to like
I totally
the
did
gay
that.
and lesbian section.
I hit
when I was introducing my family to Netflix, we got to the gay and lesbian section. They were like, "Ooh, what's in this?" And I was like, "All kinds of things."
Yes,
all kinds of things.
Yes,
like it's great.
I hit the button to start Out of the Furnace. And it was like, and then you hit the button, and then it goes to like press play to start, and I was like, no.
Yeah, one last thing on kind of now that I kind of mentioned the gay and lesbian section on Netflix. This is on HBO Go, so it's not actually part of that. I've seen the first season of Looking.
I've never heard of that.
It's an HBO series that follows these like 3 gay like 20 and 30 somethings in San Francisco. Actually, pretty good, but. As somebody that's like, as much as I kind of just about it, I'm heterosexual.
Mm-hmm.
Not there's anything wrong with that. But I mean, you kind of have to kind of be aware that it's like Sex and the City, and that there's kind of like no holds barred on the sex scenes. And so, to be fair, even some of the sex scenes in Sex and the City, I'm kind of like a little put off because I'm like, I don't want to see Kim Cattrall have sex again. But it was a pretty good show.
Nice.
Yeah, I watched that recently too, and then I started Entourage.
Nice. Speaking of awkward sex scenes, I started Californication.
Oh yeah, a lot of sex in that.
Lots of boobies.
Ever watch Masters of Sex?
No.
A lot of sex.
Oh, I would think so. Yeah.
Lizzie Kaplan, man.
Lizzie Kaplan, also
who's in the interview?
Yeah.
She's not in it as much as I was hoping.
Yeah.
They have pretty much like her like introduction in the trailer, like she does, and then she kind of like will pop back in and be like, "Hey, good job.
Hey, I'm Lizzie Kaplan.
Yeah, I explode in
Cloverfield."
That scene fucked me up when I saw it. I was not expecting that.
Yeah,
I like her a lot.
Yeah, she was. I knew her already from I guess Mean Girls.
That's right, and she's also in
Freaks and Geeks.
Hot Tub Time Machine.
And I was like, fuck yeah, Lizzie Kaplan's in this. And I'm sitting there watching it, and then that scene happens where she, and I was like,
explodes.
Fuck.
Yeah, wow, we're not playing around.
Yeah, it was messed up.
Anyone can go if Lizzie Kaplan can go.
Yeah, and everyone does.
Yeah,
if you think about it.
Yeah,
it's one of those movies where nobody walks away. Jeez, just like Beneath the Planet of the Apes. I guess Cornelius flies away with Zira. Huh.
Yeah. So 2 people walk away. Well, fly away.
3.
Fly
there's
away. Right. Yeah. Because they have
3 apes on that piece of shit.
And a baby.
Well,
starring Ted Danson.
Yeah.
Tom Selleck. And what's his face?
I don't know. Steve Guttenberg.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. But
the look in your eyes was, I'm pulling this out of my ass. Is this okay? Yes.
Yeah. It was Guttenberg. It was Guttenberg who shows up with Lizzie Kaplan in Party Down.
Okay, yeah.
There's an episode where they cater a party for Steve Guttenberg.
Nice.
And he just walks around like buff as hell. Like
what?
Since the last Police Academy movie, he's just apparently been working out.
The fuck?
Because he's like super jacked, and it's just like, wow, the Goot got like.
Okay.
I mean, the stone cutters really help him out.
Yeah,
Goot got glutes.
Yeah,
Goot got glutes.
If I make that very, if I may make that obscure reference to one Simpsons episode.
Yeah. But
the Stonecutters, the Freemason-esque clan that they have, and the one song that's just like, "Who makes Steve Guttenberg a star? We do."
Yeah, I mean. Yeah,
it's because of that song I know who Steve Guttenberg is.
Not Police Academy?
Police Academy.
Well, I know the Police Academy movies, but as far as I'm concerned, or as far as my childhood brain was concerned, he was the guy from the Police Academy movies. Whereas like that song or that episode comes on, and like I'm like, I know this song and I know that line, but who the hell is Steve Guttenberg? So I look it up and I'm like, oh, Steve Guttenberg is the guy from the Police Academy movies.
Takes on Christopher Lee in Mission to Moscow.
Sure.
Go to Moscow.
They take on Christopher Lee.
They do. Yeah. Even though, like, I'm pretty sure, like, none of that movie's filmed in Moscow.
No.
But, yeah, that's really, but what I've been watching, like TV wise, The Killing, Entourage, and Death Note, and Star Trek. I mean, I'm always watching a Star Trek series. As we've long established. I'm still balls deep in Voyager. Yeah,
balls deep.
I got to the episode where The Rock shows up.
Nice.
Yeah. He's a wrestler on some weird alien world.
Did you hear about, speaking of The Rock, that DC confirmed that the Shazam movie is going to be
in continuity
with the DCU?
Yeah, I was kind of scratching my head when I heard rumors that it wouldn't be. That it would be kind of like its own thing. And James,
I hadn't even heard that rumor. So I
got
really
squashed because
I got confused. I got confused with your bit of news. I was
all you hear is like, no shit.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, actually, there was a shit.
There was
much like the news that Idris Elba is not going to be Luther in the U.S. version of Luther.
News is news. Speaking of Idris Elba, the whole like,
oh my
they're
god,
trying
the
to get
James
him
Bond thing,
trying to get him to be James Bond, and of course there's the fucking shit about like James Bond's not black, and it's like, well, fuck you, James Bond's not real. He can be whatever the fuck he wants to be.
Yeah.
And Idris Elba tweeted a picture of himself going, well, isn't James Bond just supposed to be handsome or something? Like, and he's making like a goofy face. We've all been pushing for Idris Elba to be like Bond.
Honestly, by the time they replace Craig, though, we'll probably be too.
He'll
old.
be too old. Yeah, but give him one. Give him the George Lazenby treatment.
I read like a little snippet of what like Rush Limbaugh said, because he's been the loudest voice of the anti Idris Elba's,
because he's been the loudest voice.
And like it was something like
with his patented "it's not racism," but
he was like,
it is Rush.
He was like, James Bond is supposed to be white and Scottish and something, and I was like, actually, he's not, isn't he? Like, it just happened to be that Sean Connery was Scottish.
After the popularity of Sean Connery, Ian Fleming had, in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, the novel was like, oh, well, he comes from Scottish ancestry, but, I mean, either way, there's only been one Scottish actor to play James Bond.
They've even had an Australian play him.
Yeah.
And the fact that, people lost their shit that Daniel Craig had blonde hair. I mean, it's just stupid. Bond can't be blonde. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah, it's like Annie being black. Like, what's the problem with Annie being black?
None of it's real.
And now she's up for a Golden Globe for her role in Annie.
And, I actually read something when Annie originally came out, gingers were just as much of a social stigma as kind of like, African American are now at this point. Like, probably, I'm sure, not nearly the same level, because, the gingers haven't been enslaved by, other people, I imagine.
The Jim Crow didn't affect gingers as
yeah,
far as
exactly.
I know.
But there was still like a huge social stigma against them, and like one of the ideas of the story Annie was to kind of fight against that, and like kind of show that they can be adorable and shit and whatever. It's all fiction.
I was about to say, like,
regardless.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think gingers ever had it as bad as the African American population in the United States in the history of fucking ever.
I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying that, like, it was a fucking like, people didn't like gingers.
Yeah, I mean, South Park rips on them at every chance they get, left, right, and center.
That's right.
Yeah, and then I remember when Cartman finds out that he's like half ginger, he's like in tears.
Yeah, what is the whole episode where they pretend to make him ginger?
Yeah,
and he freaks out.
Yeah, he just flips his shit.
Yeah, and then in the South Park game, you fight ginger hall monitors.
Yeah,
so.
Matt and Trey keeping that feud alive.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, I don't mind Idris Elba as Bond, but yeah, he'll be too old. But
yeah, I mean, he will. But the fact that it's even like
that's raising that much of a stink.
Well, that's I mean, that's just gonna happen because people are dumb. They're dumb people in the world. But like, I'm excited that it's even being mentioned that, hey, he could be Bond. You know?
Yeah. Now here's a fun fact. So to touch back on the Shazam movie with The Rock and all that, James Gunn was like, look, like somebody asked, like, would you have liked to direct any DC film, or are you precluded because of your like Marvel contract? And he's like, well, yeah, I'm contractually obligated to not make DC movies while I'm under contract here with Marvel Studios, which is a shame because I would have loved to do Shazam. That was the one that he wanted. Like, if he had a chance to cherry pick any DC Comics adaptation, it would have been Shazam.
That'd been great.
Yeah. I wonder. Yeah, that would have.
I feel like it would have been.
It would have been bananas.
Oh, it would have been bananas. Yeah, it would have been bananas.
Bananas in pajamas, walking down the stairs.
Bananas in pajamas, falling down the stairs. Bananas in pajamas.
Did you ever watch that show, Bananas in Pajamas?
I've seen clips. That's as far as I got. Did they make it down the stairs? Right on.
They make it in pairs.
Then they make it with pears because they're bananas. That's how
that shit is bananas.
That's when they had to cancel
yes.
it because it was getting weird.
Yeah, I think it was a British show.
That was where it got weird.
Yeah. Not the anthropomorphic, but bananas walking downstairs
wearing pajamas.
I mean, well, you can't be walking around as a naked banana. Weird.
Wouldn't the skin be clothes? I don't even. No, the skin would be skin.
Well, yeah, the skin would be skin. It's like if we rip our skin off, then we're naked.
Yeah.
If you peel yourself, then you're naked.
Well, in that case, let me undo my pants right now.
Hanging dong.
All the live long day.
Yeah, I mean, do you think? Because I know the thing about you can't have a series called Captain Marvel, but you can call him Captain Marvel in the comics.
Yeah, because Marvel owns the rights to the franchise
but
name, but not the character.
But it's at that point now where if you called him Captain Marvel now, kids would be confused that he's, you know what I mean? Because kids know him as Shazam.
Yeah, like when he shows up in Injustice.
Mm-hmm.
In the video game, he's Shazam.
On Lego Batman 3, he's Shazam.
Even though the wizard that gives him his powers is Shazam. Yeah. I mean, that's always kind of been a sticking point for me because, he gets his powers from Shazam.
And I feel like, the old guard of comic guys like Frank Miller,
Grant Morrison,
it's Captain Marvel. And, that... I'm fine. It's not like I'm like, I will only refer to him as Captain Marvel. It's fine, but it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, he's
really.
Shazam's champion.
Yeah.
He's not Shazam.
Yeah.
I mean, they got around when they had the Captain Marvel, DC had their Captain Marvel comic series in the 80s and the early 90s. They got around it by calling the series The Power of Shazam.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's why Marvel, and they immediately, when they got the rights in the late 60s, they instantly put out, like, Stan Lee, did a quick one-off comic called Captain Marvel, which was their, Kree, alien that gets the power. It's similar because he uses the negabands to go between, Philip Lawson and Captain Marvel. And, I mean, he doesn't have to shout out Shazam because, again, they didn't have the rights to the character. But even then, it was pretty similar to Shazam in that he would transform in between forms. And he has a pretty big role in Kree Skrull War, which is a big Avengers event in the 70s. But I feel like I think the sad thing is Captain Marvel, as he's sometimes referred to, or at least the original Captain Marvel in Marvel Comics, what is generally regarded as his best story is the death of Captain Marvel.
Oh man.
In the early 80s. That's what they don't remember him for the Kree Skrull War. They don't remember him for showing up, for being part of the Avengers, any of that shit. They just remember him from contracting cancer in a fight with Nitro and dying. Sucks.
Whereas I'm fine with calling Captain Marvel Shazam.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's just,
I prefer him being called Shazam. I'm not exactly sure why, but I just
it's confusing.
It could be that. I think when I first heard about Captain Marvel, I assumed he was a Marvel character, so it really threw me off that he was a DC character, and I was like, "What the hell's going on?" And then I'm like, he yells Shazam to get his powers. Why can't he be called Shazam? And then the more I learn, I'm like, oh, okay, Shazam is the wizard, and I was like, well, that's kind of weird. And then when they, in the comics, when they killed off Shazam and, Billy Batson, Captain Marvel becomes the new Shazam, I was like, oh, cool. And then in the New 52, he's called Shazam, right?
Yeah, they basically never call him Captain Marvel.
Yeah, and I'm like, cool, let's keep it that way.
And I mean, I know there's a way he can get around, he can say his name Shazam and not turn back into Billy Batson, because I know in the Jeff Johns book run, he's basically you have to mean it when you say it. Because he says Shazam for the first time as Billy Batson, he's like, Shazam? And, nothing happens. He has to, really, mean it. But, I don't know. It's weird. I get a kind of super nerdy, ridiculous, almost thrill when he's referred to as Captain Marvel in comics now.
Because it's almost a rarity, right?
It's like, oh shit, they're calling Captain fucking Marvel.
Oh god, just like he was originally created.
Did you guys read Thunderworld? He's fucking knows Captain Marvel.
Yeah, Multiversity Thunderworld by Grant Morrison, who we basically like all but like jerk off on this podcast. Yeah.
He looks just like Superman.
Yeah. That's what got him. I don't know if you know the backstory.
Yeah, that's why DC has the rights to.
They sued the shit out of
because
Fawcett
it said
Comics.
basically,
when they were coming up like make him more like Superman, and somehow the legal
boom.
Yeah, so I don't know how that document survived until the court case.
I get to see the guys like sitting in the room, and with their hats with index cards. I don't know why on the side.
Yeah.
They're just sitting there and they're like, jackpot, gentlemen, jackpot, and just close the binders.
Jackpot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why didn't we burn this?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
shit.
No. One of my favorite possessions is my Public Enemies. Superman, Batman, Public Enemies.
Jeff Loeb, yeah.
Character action figure that is Superman wearing Shazam's like it says Shazam on the box. It's at that point it's Superman wearing Captain Marvel's suit with the chest ripped so it reveals the S underneath it.
Yeah.
Much like what they did in Kingdom Come.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly.
Well, he doesn't. He straight up fights Captain Marvel.
Well, doesn't he
beast.
dress up as Captain Marvel after he beats Captain Marvel?
No, he has his cape and he uses it as a flag, kind of as like a symbol for the.
Because
I could have sworn he infiltrated. Whatever.
That might be. I was about to ask if you guys had like
just
because we're talking
Captain
about
Marvel
favorite Captain Marvel moments, and for me, in Kingdom Come, that's one of the best Captain Marvel moments because
he steals the show.
He steals the show. I mean, the fight between him, because for me, one of
he's always got the creepy like 1950s face.
Yeah, like that bodybuilder, like
as he's like beating the shit out of
Superman.
Yeah,
like you're fucked now, because Superman has a weakness to magic.
Yeah.
So one of the few people I honestly believe could beat Superman. Like none of this like Batman. I'll think of it 25 years in advance. I'm always thinking. I always have the thing.
Batman thinks of everything.
Is Shazam, Captain Marvel, could beat Superman. I believe that Martian Manhunter could beat Superman. Like. No, let's not think about it. Let's not plan a plan. Just throw down. And so that moment when Billy Batson in Kingdom Come becomes Captain Marvel for the first time in years, it's this epic fight. And Superman kind of gives him this thing where, the nuclear bomb is coming and Batman...
To wipe out all the superheroes.
Batman and Wonder Woman have taken out one, and there's still one coming. And he basically gets Captain Marvel to turn back into Billy Batson, and he covers his mouth, and he's like, "You're not saying it again. I'm going to go stop this from happening. You have a choice, though. You can come and kill me if you really want to, or you can let me do what I need to do." But the great thing about Billy Batson is he comes up with a third option. And it's such a simple panel. And out of all the shit Alex Ross draws, but it's such a simple panel. It's just you see Superman's boot and you see a hand grabbing his boot in that one panel. Yeah. And he throws Superman down and he flies up and he yells Shazam 3 times. And
I don't know why.
I don't know, supercharged, like Shazam, 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 and it's like lightning, 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 and he takes out the nuclear bomb, and it still kills like almost everybody. It owns fucking Green Arrow, and one of my favorite, it's
Green Arrow.
A sweet moment though is if you see, it's not like it's a panel of just Green Arrow, but if you look, Green Arrow, the skeleton is hovering over Black Canary, like he's shielding her one last time, even though they're both charred. And
Uncle Owen and Aunt
status. And it's a great moment for kind of the redemption of Captain Marvel. And then another one really quick that I love is in The Dark Knight Strikes Again, where again he's referred to as Captain Marvel, and he's basically holding a city on his back.
Yeah,
and
he's literally an atlas.
Yeah, and Wonder Woman sees him, and it's such a great moment. She kind of looks at him and goes, "Say the word one more time, warrior, go out with a roar." And you turn the page, and this giant onomatopoeia is him yelling Shazam, and it kills him. But he saves like all these people in the process, and it's such a great, go out, say the word warrior, go out with a roar or whatever. It's such a great thing.
I always liked, of course, Jerry Ordway's Power of Shazam was a great series. It ran for like 44 issues. It was a great way to kind of reintroduce Captain Marvel and his entire like Black Adam, who's his antagonist, played by The Rock, and and Captain Marvel Jr. into DC continuity, because they get inserted into DC continuity during Crisis on Infinite Earths, and you first see them there in Power of Shazam. And so that was really cool, like world building wise and like mythos building wise. But I also, at the end, because Mark Waid wrote Kingdom Come, he also writes Underworld Unleashed. And the entire time, like Neron, basically Satan, is like, I'm going to get the soul of the purest hero, and that's how I will win. Like that'll empower me so fucking strong. And and everyone, of course, is like, oh God, he's playing for Superman's soul. He's playing for Superman's soul. He's playing for Captain Marvel's soul. And at the end, Captain Marvel taints his own soul by making a counter offer to Neron, and Neron's like, well, now your soul isn't completely pure anymore, so damn it. And like goes back and like gets like blown out like a candle. But and of course, if you want to see Alex Ross paint Captain Marvel in a not psychotic manner like he shows up in Kingdom Come, read Justice. He shows up in Justice. He saves Superman. It's a nice little inverse because he saves Superman in the Justice series. So that's
He kind of also like owns the Justice League in Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah.
Little speech he gives.
Well, it's like the most dickish you see Superman.
Oh, he's such a dick in that episode.
Yeah, because he gets so jealous of Captain Marvel. He's like, who the fuck is this guy? And if you,
who the fuck are you?
Yeah, and then they have this like huge fight, but which basically he instigates.
Yeah, he's a bully in that episode.
Yeah, Superman's a bully. Which is kind of weird.
And he's basically bullying a child.
Yeah, if you think about it, every time he lands a punch on Captain Marvel, even though Captain Marvel is in the body of a man, he's beating the shit out of a kid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, psychologically, it's like with the world's greatest hero is kicking the shit out of you when you're like 11 years old.
And at no point, like, Superman is not like this, like, oh, I'm sorry. It's just like, fuck you, kid. I'm the only fucking beast around here.
I remember being very uncomfortable during that episode.
Yeah.
And then Shazam, or Captain Marvel, Shazam, whatever. I can't even pick anymore.
Both.
Yeah, both.
Billy Batson.
Yeah, thank you. Shows up, and he's just like, fuck you guys.
Yeah. He's
and
like,
fuck you, Superman. You used to be my hero, and you punched me in the face.
Yeah.
You asshole.
I really wanted to, for that episode to end and have Superman just be completely wrong about everything about Lex Luthor. Mm-hmm. My favorite Captain Marvel moment, I can never remember what story it's from, but I believe it was they threw in the action of it in one of the animated movies. But basically, Captain Marvel, I don't even remember who he's fighting. It could very well be the fight with Superman from Kingdom Come, for all I remember. But he's got like whoever it is in like a chokehold or something like that, and he just starts yelling Shazam!
Oh, that's
and,
Unlimited.
Like, lightning hits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lightning hits him, and he just yells it again and again and again. Just lightning keeps hitting whoever the hell.
It's Soups. So he's getting hit in the like chest.
It's not
weird charred.
Yeah, it's not affecting. It's not affecting him, Captain Marvel, at all, because he's got the Superman in between the two.
Like a full Nelson. Yeah.
That's a great move he does in Injustice. He does one of his moves.
And for the thought that he is able to use his his lightning strike as a weapon. Yeah. Like I love that.
Yeah.
He does it
that would be like Superman just hitting you with the sun.
He does it in Public Enemies too.
Yes, that's what it is. Yeah. Yeah. Which is probably my favorite
like comic story.
Yeah, which is essentially like a dumbed down version of Kingdom Come, in the sense of like Superman fighting Shazam.
Though he uses the lightning on Batman in that story, and it's like, how much does that fuck up Batman?
1.21 gigawatts.
Yeah, sends him Back to the Future.
You mean like the Omega beams?
Yeah, exactly. Return of Bruce Wayne. Fuck yeah.
But and if you're looking for a more modern take, the Jeff Johns I liked a lot, the New 52 collection.
I don't like
good.
Billy Batson
Jeff
being
Johns.
Yeah, he always.
Oh God, I hate Billy Batson in the New 52.
I don't like him being a little shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Jeff Johns on the Fat Man on Batman was so pleased because he's because he sets it up and he's just like he's such a great storyteller, but he tells his stories like audibly just as well as when he writes them down, because he like sets it up. And he's like, because if you read that story, you buy into like it's the normal classic. Oh golly gee, I drink hot chocolate on a snowy day. I love everybody. Blah blah blah. And then he, it's just this 180 where it's like, suckers, I can't wait to get out of here and blah blah blah. But he still hates bullies, and like he learns slowly about like being Shazam and all that good stuff. And for me, the first thing he does is he uses it to get beer and take ask the lady for $20 after he saves her or whatever, and uses it on the ATM to get money.
They have that weird like, oh, we're gonna be so rich, and you see him like flexing, and it's just like
just the Gary Frank, the
yeah, he's like
Oh yeah, they do like the yes.
Yeah.
Is it, in this one? Is it a whole bunch of people come together to become Shazam, or is it still just Billy Batson?
It's Billy. The whole bunch of people is in the Flashpoint.
Yeah.
Universe is like Shazam. Like every single, there's like 5 kids.
Yeah.
Or 6 kids because each letter of the Shazam acronym is a kid.
Ugh.
And in this, like he gives his powers to. He creates a Captain Marvel kind of like family.
That was great
with his powers.
Marvel family.
But then he also
Marvel
realizes that he's given away some of his powers, so he's not as strong, and they start losing their powers. And then Black Adam goes out hard, but
always goes out hard.
He always goes out hard.
I hate it whenever Black Adam says Black Adam turns into Teth Adam, and just his age catches up to him.
Yeah, he turns into the Last Crusade. What is happening to me? And he turns into dust, and there's randomly a Nazi lapel pin in his dust. As it blows in the wind.
But I always felt that was such a cop out.
Oh, it is. But
I mean, they do it in. You can find it on Netflix. The Superman.
That's good.
Shazam, like First Thunder or whatever.
Yeah, I like that. It's like a 40. It's like a 40-minute thing, and
with all the shorts as well.
Yeah. The Spectre was Jonah Hex, Green Arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the 3, and
I haven't seen the Jonah Hex one. That's the only one I haven't seen.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like you don't necessarily have
about as good as the movie.
I would argue it's better.
Gotta be better.
Yeah, because they don't use Dragon Ball explosives in the.
They don't use Megan Fox.
Yeah, what's his name? Michael Fassbender doesn't chew up scenery like it's his job, which to be fair, it probably is, which he does in the film. John Malkovich isn't the bad guy. And Jonah Hex doesn't have this weird ability to raise the dead like he does in the movie.
Yeah.
I don't. He doesn't.
What's like the Spirit basically being Wolverine in the Spirit movie,
having the healing factor, which isn't actually a thing.
Nope.
But
I feel like the Spirit was more like Deadpool than Wolverine, just because there was a little.
Well, you got the healing. Yeah, the healing factor thing.
He had the healing factor, and then like all like the same kind of like snarkiness almost. Like Wolverine is just pissed off, whereas the Spirit was kind of like a douche.
Yeah, if you've watched the movie, go read a Spirit comic book.
Yeah,
they're really good.
Read the Darwin.
The Darwin Cook, man,
that's a great run.
And don't
run.
expect it to be anything like the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, if you love the movie, you might be disappointed because
if you love the movie,
like
just watch the movie again.
Yeah, just watch the movie again.
Just pop it back in.
Yeah, be like Sam and own it on DVD.
Yeah. Bought it the day it came out.
I just love that. Why do you own this if you hate it? I don't know.
Just do. Why do you eat Apple Jacks if they don't taste like apples?
Yeah,
we like.
And then I'm sitting there having fond memories of seeing the movie in theaters, and I borrow the DVD from Sam and watching it and get about halfway through and being like, I understand why people don't like this movie anymore.
The rose-colored lenses are gone. It's like, oh,
yeah,
bummer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so thank you for sticking with these. If you've been listening since day one, thank you. If you haven't been listening since day one, hey, there's 24 more episodes for you to download, right?
Mm-hmm.
We do some commentaries too. So we just finished Batman, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right.
But we're gonna change gears and cleanse the palate a bit, and then we're gonna jump into another major comic book franchise. But yeah. So thanks for a good first year of Geek Out. We'll see you in 2015, which is a big year for Chris because he's a big fan of events that take place in 2015.
Yep. And the year is also a big year for Jake because it belongs to the Mad.
It does.
It does. I don't have any movie that.
And then Sam is just like, fuck 2015.
I have no movie where like I have a boner erecting from my jeans.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Oh, there it goes. Yeah. Rip. All right, there it is.
Yeah.
Well, while I go quench this beast, you guys enjoy your New Year.
Thank you very much for that, Samuel.
Good night, Eric Bana.
Shazam.